This is Calculus AB 2015 FRQ question number 2. So they give us two functions. They give us f of x and g of x. Now, if you were to graph these on your calculator, you would see that this is f of x here, and this is g of x here. Now they want the sum of r and s. So basically we have two integrals there. And I'm going to show you a shortcut that we could do. So I will do two different methods. One's a lot easier, and if you know what you're doing, it can save you some time. But they give us that intersection point and that one, but we don't have that one, so we need to find that. So your first points would come, and I would do this. This is not necessary. Let y1 equal f of x and y2 equal g of x, because in my calculator I've already stored those. F of x and g of x is y1 and y2. That way I know where they're stored. And so then the first points, you would have to tell me f of x equals g of x, or you could have done y1 equals y2, or you could have literally put that function here and this function here, but that's your first point on this problem, knowing to set them equal to each other. Now in your calculator, we're going to find that intersection point. We're just looking for one. So I'm going to say that occurs at a equals, and I'm going to store it at a. So in my calculator, let me graph this. Now, if you look, I just need that portion, and I know it goes from 0 to 2 here. So I'm going to go from -1 to 3 to capture that. That will give me plenty. And I know the top is 4. So I'm going to go from 0 to 5 on my y. So I get more than the graph. And that should be pretty close to the window. Okay, so I need that point there. So I'm going to do intersect, second calc, 5. And is the first curve the blue one? I agree. Second one the red one? Yes, I agree. Now the guess, that's pretty close. Now you can put any number in this area and you're fine, or you can put the blinky bob anywhere in the area. It's close, so I'm gonna enter. There's my answer, 1.0328 blah, 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 right? So I'm gonna save that as A. I'm going to home screen and say take what's in X and store, nope, not second, and store that for A. So now that's stored. I'm going to say it A equals 1.032832. I would give you 1 point for finding the point of intersection. So now, here we go. Part A, the area of R and S. The area of R, you're going to add up all the rectangles starting at 0 and ending at A. So this intersection point is A. And this is 2. So I'm going to add the rectangles from 0 to A, all these rectangles. The height is big Y, which is g of x, minus little y, which is f of x, and the thickness or the width is dx. Then, for region S, I'm going to go from A to 2 and add up the rectangles. So A to 2, excuse me. Now big Y is f of x, and little y is g of x, and the width is dx. And now I'm just going to put that in my calculator. Now, for my own note, this is y2 minus y1, y1 minus y2, so that's how I'm going to enter in my calculator. Let's do this and hopefully get the answer. Now, in the solutions guide, they gave an answer for each of these individually first. You do not need to do that. It didn't ask for the individuals, so they just did some extra. So how are we going to do that? So we go, I'll clear the home screen, and I'm going to do math 9 to get the integral. And the first region was 0 to A. And that was y2 minus y1, if I remember right. Yeah. So I'm going to go y2 minus y1 with respect to x. And then I want to add the second region, which was a to 2. So math 9, I'm going to go from a all the way to 2. And this one was flipped. The y1 was bigger. So I'm going to go y1 minus, and then y2 with respect to x. And I get the answer right there, 2.004. So if this were a quiz or a test, I'd probably give you, 1 point for this first integral, 1 point for the second integral, and 1 point for the answer. That's probably how I would break it down. Possibly 1 point for the integral, 1 point for the integrand. So 1 point for this, 1 point for that, 1 point for this, 1 point for that. It depends. I'm not sure what I would do. 1 point for the answer. Now, for a shortcut, this is an optional answer. You could go all the way from 0 to 2. And here's the problem. Here, if you get f and g switched, it's the same magnitude, just the sign's different. So what you could do is you could do the absolute value of f of x minus g of x. So no matter, even if these are reversed, like in this region, these would come out negative, but the absolute value makes it positive. So if you see that, that actually will get you the same answer. And you don't need the two separate integrals. So watch, I could, math 9, I could go from 0 to 2, and instead of f minus g, I want to do the absolute value. So I want absolute value of y1 minus y2. So that way I don't need two separate integrals. Life is easier. And look, you get the same answer. So just pointing that out, you could do some shortcuts if you understand the concepts and know what to do. All right, so that's part A. We're going to go to part B. So I'm going to erase a lot of this stuff. So region S is the base. We have cross sections and we have a square. So let me erase this and we'll go right to part B. So part B. Now region S, which is this one. And they say that's the base, so that's your floor. Cross sections perpendicular to the x-axis are squares. So perpendicular to the x, there's x perpendicular is this way. So the base of the squares are right there. So there's the base. And so the squares are going to look something like that. Let me try that again. It doesn't look like my parallelograms. Still not liking my parallelograms. Let me do it over here. There we go. And let me fill it in with a nice, I think blue will be nice. Nope, I meant to do it differently, but we'll do that. Okay, and it's supposed to be a square, so let me make it look more squarish. So that is what's being placed all the way across here. So I'm going to label the bottom here, this, try it again. This I'm going to label as B. So what's little b? That's going to be big Y minus small y, f of x minus g of x, which is y1 minus y2, FYI. So we're going to add those up. So we're going to add up starting at A, ending at 2. And to get the volume, you need the volume of every single one of those squares. So the volume is base times height, which is b squared. times the thickness of that square, which is dx, and we are home free. So you could put f of x minus g of x, or you could literally put y1 minus y2, but let's do this. Go to the calculator. I'm gonna, here we are, math 9 to get an integration. I'm going from a all the way to 2, and the area of the rectangle was y1 minus y2, or yeah, y1 minus y2. And it's squared, so I need a parenthesis. And I'm doing y1 minus, and then I'm going to do y2, end parenthesis, square that, with respect to x, that's the thickness, and I should get my answer, 1.283. So here we go. The points break down how I would probably have done this. Definitely 1 point for the correct answer, 1 point for the correct integrand, and 1 point for the correct integral with the correct limits of integration. So that's B. One more to go. Let's do C. So let me erase stuff. Again, you can fast forward as I erase. This kind of takes time. Not too bad. All right. Now let me erase this stuff. There's always that weird question, and here it is, where you have to think a bit. H be the vertical distance between F and G in region S. So H, I would draw in this region. It's the distance vertically, and they're defining that as H. So in part C, H would be big Y minus small y. This case is y1 minus y2. Key words, rate. When you hear rate, you should think the derivative. That is derivative. So it's asking for the change in h compared to the change in x. They're looking for dh dx at the point where x equals 1.8. This you can do in your calculator. Couple ways, there's actually a few ways to enter. I will show you. So one way is just to do math 8 for derivative with respect to x, and I believe it's y1 minus y2, yeah, y1 minus y2. So I could just enter it like that, y1 minus y2, and where at the point 1.8. And we get our answer, negative 3.811. Squiggly for approximating because we're rounding off. That's truncated or rounded off. And the points breakdown on this, probably 1 for figuring out h, 1 for taking the derivative of h at 1.8, and 1 point for the answer. And that would be the end of this question.